Hello and welcome back to our Gelatin Zymography tutorial series. In the last video, we discussed how to collect and store our samples appropriately in order to measure the amount of MMPs in them with gelatin zymography. Now, we are going to illustrate the actual steps of gelatin zymography. Before beginning this procedure, your samples, standards, and pre-stained protein ladder should be thawed out and kept on ice in order to preserve them from degradation. Reagent preparation. Gelatin zymography requires 4 types of buffers: sample buffer, running buffer, renaturing buffer, and developing buffer. The sample buffer we use in this protocol is ready to use. Allow it some time to warm to room temperature, and then briefly vortex it in order to redissolve any SDS crystals that may have precipitated out during freezing or refrigeration. Meanwhile, you can dilute the 10x concentrated running, renaturing, and developing buffers to their working concentrations. To do this, measure out 100 milliliters of concentrate with a clean, graduated cylinder, and then pour it into a clean bottle. Then, measure 900 milliliters of deionized water and add that to the bottle containing concentrate. As with all reagents, be sure to clearly label the bottles containing each solution in order to avoid confusing them in the later steps. Denaturing samples. Briefly vortex your samples and standards in order to mix them thoroughly, and then spin them down with a benchtop centrifuge. Transfer the desired volume of sample to a set of strip tubes, while keeping everything on ice. Then, add the appropriate volume of sample buffer to each sample. As shown here, this may be accomplished using a multi-channel pipette to save time. Mix the samples completely by pipetting them up and down repeatedly or by vortexing them as shown here. Allow them to sit at room temperature for at least 5 minutes so that the protein can denature. Assembling the electrophoresis apparatus. Assemble the electrophoresis apparatus according to the manufacturer's directions. For the commercial precast gels used in this protocol, you must first remove the gel cartridge from its packaging. Then remove the tape at the bottom of the cartridge and rinse it briefly under deionized water. Carefully remove the gel comb, applying a slow, even pressure so as not to disturb the fragile lanes of the gel. Rinse out the sample loading wells of the gel 3 times. Do this by slowly filling the wells with some diluted running buffer and then inverting the cartridge and shaking it to empty the wells 3 times. Fill the lanes one last time with running buffer such that all the air bubbles are removed from the wells, and do not empty the wells anymore. Place the cassette into the electrophoresis apparatus and lock it into place. Fill the middle of the apparatus with running buffer, and wait a minute to see if any running buffer leaks out into the surrounding chamber. If buffer is leaking out, unlock the cassettes and press them down more firmly into the chamber in order to create a better seal. Lock the chamber and refill the middle of the apparatus with running buffer to verify no leaks, just as before. Once the chamber is filled and not leaking, you are ready to load samples into the zymograms. In the next video, we will demonstrate how to load, run, and develop the zymogram in order to detect the level of MMP activity in your samples. If you're benefiting from these tutorials, please click the like button and share these videos with others. Thanks for watching.